Moving onward to our next session on the topic, the crippling cost of non-compliance, a global need to accelerate the digital future. Introducing our thought leader, Mr. Sudheendra Bharadwaj, Director of Solution Consultant at Happay. Mr. Bharadwaj is a seasoned professional with 8 plus years in T&E management. As Director of Solution Consultant at Happy, he drives effective solutions for clients like Piramal, PwC, Tata Group, and many more. His expertise benefits businesses in India and MEA. A huge round of applause for Mr. Sudheendra Bharadwaj.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm Sudheendra. I take care of the implementation team at Happay. So I'm here to talk about the crippling cost of non-compliance in this industry currently, right? So what we've done a survey and we understood that around 45% is the crippling cost of non-compliance in the last decade in different organizations. What are the reasons for this? Globalization of these particular organizations, expansion in different units, and also going ahead with number of employees and increasing at the end of the day in these kind of organizations, right? So what we have seen, we have predicted about 2.71% of increase in non-compliance on a year-on-year basis as well. So what Happay has done, Happay has tried to see what are the top sources of these particular non-compliances that have been happening. So we have payroll management, where there's a huge non-compliance of taxations. So if at all your tax properties are not taken care, there is labor laws that come into picture, and if at all they're underpaid or overpaid, all of these are certain non-compliances in the payroll industry. I will talk about information security again, where we have compliances like GDPR, IDPR, SOC 2, etc. So all of these come under the information security. Then we have medical insurance, procurement. All of these spaces are the places that we have seen where non-compliance is happening on a regular basis. Then we have travel and expense. So this is something that we can actually avoid using some of the frameworks that we have developed, and we see around 22% of non-compliance in travel and expense space as well. So what happens if we go with this particular rate? So we see a 3x reduction in the finance team's productivity. So what happens whenever a finance team is actually trying to process these particular payments or non-compliances that are being done from any of the employees in the entire organization? The time that they take to actually process these kind of payments is drastically increased. Then we have increase in travel and expense cost, which means people who are not allowed to actually take a business class flight go ahead and take a business class flight as per their grades, if at all it's economy. So all of these are resulting to 30% increase in the entire travel and expense space, right? So then we see delay for the employees. So employees take around 60 to 70 days for their reimbursements to happen. Whenever they raise a claim, it takes around 60 to 70 days for them to get their reimbursement back, because there's a lot of non-compliance and somebody is actually looking at every bill that the employee is uploading. So Happay, which is a leading expense management player in this particular space, has come up with a DAP framework, which is DAAP. So that stands for data, automation, audit, approvals, and the processes. So we have come up with a framework which can actually completely help us eliminate this entire non-compliance that is happening and bring in faster reimbursements and compliant expense management in the organization. So what is DAP? So the first particular thing is data in DAP. D stands for data, where whenever you allow an employee to actually enter the data manually, that is where we see a lot of non-compliance coming into picture, right? So employee might make some manual mistakes or try and be a little bit smart and try to ensure that they get more from the reimbursement and add some non-compliant data. Then we have the approval flows. Certain organizations come up with very drastic and long approval flows, which would take a lot of time for the employees to get their reimbursements back. So maybe there are different types of expenses that the employees claim, where they have travel expenses, your other expenses like your mobile and internet reimbursement. All of these need not have a similar workflow, right? So this will drastically increase the entire time in which the employee is getting the reimbursement for their entire claims that have been made. Then we have automation using smart audit and policy violations. So we have policies that we can define in the product, which would ensure that as per the grade of the employee, are they eligible to even claim these kind of expenses, or what is the limit that they can claim up to? All of this is being taken care from the product itself. Then we have the automation of the particular process. So we can help you based on different organizations that we have worked with. What would be the best process on different type of expenses or the traveling that the employees do? So what is the differentiator that Happy does in this particular case? Yes, sir, I think there was a question. Yeah. I'm sorry, sir, I can't hear you. Can you repeat that? Yeah, yeah. Yes, I'll be explaining in the next slide. Yeah, absolutely. So how do we automate this entire data capturing? So whatever is the manual method using which these employees are currently uploading the invoices, all of these can be automated with some of the AI-powered features that Happy actually proposes. So first of all, we have cards. We have integrated with different banks where we can give you a Happy card, which is a prepaid card using which your employees would be able to make spends. So as soon as they make a spend, as per the RBI guidelines, automatically these transactions would be created on Happy as a non-editable transaction. So the amount, date, time, merchant that's spent at, the currency, if at all it is spent in a different currency, the conversion rate, all of these automatically come into the Happy system, and employee need not actually create these expenses, which means forgetting of expenses that they want to claim, all of that is completely eliminated, or tampering of data, making certain changes in amount, date, etc., just to ensure that they are within the policy, all of that would also be completely eliminated. All that the employee can do is attach an invoice to it and submit it for approval. Then we have OCR, which is optical character recognition. We can actually scan the emails. So certain merchants provide you an email. Whenever you take an Uber ride or a Zomato or a Swiggy that you book, you get an invoice on your email ID. So we have a plugin which can actually sync with your Gmail or Outlook and fetch the information from the mail itself, which means the employee need not even open the Happy dashboard or any of the other reimbursement dashboard. Automatically, with the Gmail plugin itself, they would be able to create their expenses in a seamless way. The email, the body of the email becomes the attachment for you, which would have all the particular information that they have spent at, and all relevant information is completely automated in this way. Then we have WhatsApp as well, wherein using which you can just send a image on the WhatsApp to a particular number and automatically an expense would be created against you. That is also one of the automations. And we have SMS. So SMS feature is one of the very unique features which I don't think so any other industry standards actually provide currently. We integrate and fetch your SMS data. So whenever you make a spend using any of your cards, need not be Happy card, any of your HDFC or ICICI cards, etc., automatically these transactions would be sent as an SMS to your mobile number, right? So an amount of so-and-so rupees is spent at, let's say, Domino's or Jubilant Foodworks, etc., automatically can be captured from the same SMS itself. So we know there is a certain format in which the message is sent by the banks. We would be able to fetch that and create these expenses automatically against that particular employee. Then we have physical bills as well. Automatically, you can scan it using your mobile application, and these transactions would be created in a non-editable format. So then we have approval process. So it is not necessary to approve each and every expense, right? So there are certain very negligible expenses which can be completely eliminated. If at all there's a policy violation, only then get an approval done. So you can have your standard workflow like employee, manager, and finance. If at all there is some policy violation that has been done, then send it to an HOD or a senior manager. All of these sort of automations can be done. So if at all they take a lot of time to approve it, there is also an auto approval feature enabled, using which it can be escalated to another person where they can take the action on behalf of the person who is not available. Yeah. So then we have audit. Based on different pay grades or bands or grades in the organization, there are different limits that are being defined for every employee, right? So automatically, whenever they upload an expense, as per their eligibility, is this amount that is entered by them within the policy or outside the policy. This is something that the policy engine of Happay would be able to take care of. Then we have smart audit. This checks for duplicate invoices, not just the same employee uploading the invoice again and again. So we have an AI-powered feature here where we can scan the images to a pixel level and check the duplicateness, whether it is a bit smudgy, blurry, it's vertically captured, horizontally captured. All of this also can be checked and highlighted as a duplicate expense. It's not just the same employee, but across the organization, if at all 2 or 3 people are trying to upload the same expense, that would also be shown as a violation. So to avoid this, employees can also share expense. That is also an option that we have. Let's say 2 people went for a team dinner, then automatically that expense can be split between 2 or 3 people, and the accounting also would happen accordingly. So then we have the best standard practices using which a lot of non-compliance can be eliminated or eradicated from the organization. We have pre-travel approvals that we can take. So we can book your flight before you take the approval and then hold the fare as well till your approvals are not done, so that you don't lose out on the money increase or the fare increase that happens in the flights whenever you book a flight, and that time, during the time you get the approval, if at all the increase or decrease in fare also can be completely blocked to a certain amount that the employee has looked at it for. The per diem allowances, which can ensure that based on the number of days an employee is traveling, you can actually give them a per diem allowance and not worry about the reimbursement at all. Based on the city group, is it a Class A city, Metro city, Class B city, etc., you'd be able to provide them a per diem automatically based on the number of days that they're traveling, and there's no need for reimbursements in that case. And you can also ask for proofs where you can ask the employee to upload certain invoices wherein there's no reimbursement as such, and the delay in reimbursement is completely eliminated when you go with this particular method. So during hotel booking, if at all there's an extension that is happening, all of these as well lead to a lot of non-compliance. On the portal itself, you have an option to extend your booking, change your booking, cancel your booking. All of these can be done using the fingertips on your mobile application itself. We have both Android as well as iOS mobile applications, which means employees on the go would be able to make changes, raise expenses, raise trips, etc. Then we have per-trip allowances, wherein based on the trip that the employee is taking and the type of trip that they're taking, you can actually provide them allowances. So you can let them know that if at all this particular trip is a local trip, then there's a cab reimbursement, or using their own vehicle if they travel, the mileage reimbursement. All of these can be automated using some of the AI-powered features of Happay. So this is pretty much using which how the DAP framework will ensure that all of your particular non-compliances that are happening in your organization can be eliminated up to a certain extent, and ensure that there is free and hassle-free reimbursements that are happening to the employees within a stipulated amount of time. You have any questions? I would be happy to answer them right now.
So there could be personal transactions as well as
Correct. Yeah.
professional. How will you segregate?
So every expense has a GL code tagged to it, which is linked as per your ERP. So employee will have to select the category of the expense that they are making. So when this was actually uploaded, we will check whether that particular thing is as per the policy. If at all it is exceeded, that will be violated for the employee. Yes, sir.
Acha, in the second slide, you talked about the non-compliance. I just wanted to understand non-compliance, what do you mean? Is it related to the law regulation, or is it related to the internal company
This is
compliance?
mostly in the T&E space that I'm talking, as per the rules and the laws that are actually formed in the organization for the reimbursements of the particular employees. That is where we bring in a DAP framework. But there are other non-compliances also that are happening, which is drastically increasing. This is something that we can avoid, is what we're trying to show.
So non-compliant. Okay. So how Happy will help here?
The T&E, automatically using the DAP framework, we would be able to capture the information and ensure that the faster reimbursements are done, and also the automated data will ensure the correctness of data is also available with the employees and the finance. They don't have to rely on manual information that is entered by the employee.
Okay. It's not related to any law regulation,
No.
something like that. Okay. Thank you.
Hi. Sorry, can you hear
Yes,
me?
sir.
I've got two questions.
Yeah.
So one is on the interface. I just want to understand how is your product interfaced with the prominent ERPs
Yes.
like Oracle, SAP, PeopleSoft. That's the first part. Number two, I want to understand how is it different than the prominent leaders like Concur and Workday and Oracle, Fusion. How do you find this product different? I mean, if I have to.
That's a very good question, so thank you for asking that. So first is, we can integrate with any sort of ERPs that are currently available. So for all the reimbursements that happen to the payroll system, we would be able to send this data using an API or an SFTP method. We have done integrations with Workday, SAP, Oracle, etc., Tally as well, for a certain organizations where this information is sent to the ERP and the payments are made. So that is completely a full-fledged integration that we have, wherein we have expertise and everything where we can integrate with that. So when we compare it with the Concur or any other organization which is actually doing similar, we are a Make in India product. We understand the Indian market and the things that go wrong in India, and we have brought in the features that will actually help the employees in terms of the Indian problems that we face and ensure that we have a fix for that. Yes, yes. So we are GDPR compliant as well, and we will ensure that we are also available in the Middle East market. So we are expanding as well. So we're expanding to the Southeast Asia market as well. So there as well, for your VAT-related things, we have integrations with VAT-it and things like that, where we can ensure you get the taxation part as well back from there. Any other questions? Yes. Yes, sir. So we would also be able to capture the GST-related information from the invoice itself and give you a GST scraper for all the airline invoices that you have, so that you can get that 5% back as well and provide you the report in the format that you need.
So in case of airfare, then your system also provides the airline tax invoice?
Yes, so we integrate. So what happens usually with these airfares is, there is a common email ID that you share with the different airlines, right? We have a GST scraper where we can integrate with that particular email ID and scrape out the information and provide you a report. That 5% that you can get from each and every airline, that can also be brought in here.
And how you make sure in hotel booking that hotel GST is correctly mentioned on the invoice to avail the GST credit?
Yes, sir. So that is basically the employee is being asked. That is more of a training that we have to do to the employee. But if at all the bookings are done through the Happy portal itself, then that is automated. The invoice also, we will capture the state-wise GST IN of your organization, and automatically based on the state that the employee is traveling and from which state they are, we will compute it, and the right GST IN would be available on the invoice.
Okay, thank you.
Like if we are having our own tie-up with the hotels, and then how your system would be capturing that data?
So we are a travel aggregator. We don't directly deal with the hotels or the airlines. So we integrate with any of the travel management companies that your organization is working with. So we are we're not a travel provider as such, but we are an aggregator, like a technology provider in between. So if you have certain tied up hotels, you can ask the TMC to upload it on their inventory, that which will only be visible to you. This can be guest houses or your tied up hotels. All of that information will start flowing into Happy. That can be done, and that can be visible to the employee. If at all a user is trying to select some other hotel apart from your tied up hotel, we can also throw an error message telling your preferred hotel are these. Please try and select from this. If this is empty, then you can go with the next one. That can also be done.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
In our organization, we already have the Happay app, and we have been given with it. But does Happay come only when there is an employee-employer relationship, or is it more than that? Just wanted to understand, is it only between the employee and the employer and the expense management with respect to this?
So as of now, yes, that is the case. We come in with employee and employer. We are trying to do more, but that's like a few years to come from now. So we're trying to step up and bring in more things as well. As of now, it's the employee and employer fix itself. Yeah. Yes. Sir.
You mentioned about booking the tickets and holding the tickets.
Yeah.
What's the timeline for that hold?
So typically, airlines give you 4 to 8 hours before the departure. There is a hold that happens. Okay. So till that time, if you don't get the approval, we will automatically cancel it and send a message to the employee saying it's cancelled. So if at all you fail to get the approval within 4 hours of your flight or 8 hours of your flight, it's automatically cancelled. And usually these corporate fares don't even have a cancellation charge. It's free of cost for you.
And do you have a partnership with some travel?
Yes, sir. So we have a partnership with leading travel agency like FCM, RIA. All of these are some of our partners. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Bharadwaj, for sharing your thoughts. To do the honors, I request Mr. Vaibhav Karla, Director of Finance and Strategic Partnerships at Yum Restaurants International, to please join us on the dais. Can we have a huge round of applause for Mr. Sudheendra Bharadwaj?